I have been talking to Kate Nash, OBE, who is the creator and CEO of Purple Space, about the importance of talking about people with disabilities and what they need in the workplace, and why they often get overlooked when we're talking about other protected groups. For instance, we talk a lot about gender, we talk a lot about ethnicity, sexuality, and we often forget about disability, which is particularly troubling given that 15% of our workforce have a disability, whether that's obvious to others or not. And I asked Kate why she thought that was.
It's so challenging, I think, for us to put ourselves in the shoes of others who experience sometimes things that rock our worlds, sometimes for a moment in time, sometimes for months, sometimes years, sometimes for a lifetime. And the reality is the majority of people at some stage in their life have to make sense of and get over this aspect of human difference. It's about normalising something that impacts in one way, shape, size or form everybody, even if it's not direct experience.
I just need to meet someone who's mature enough to see past my massive tits.
She talks about the soft bigotry of low expectations, an incredible phrase first uttered, I understand, by George W. Bush, but not written by him.
That soft bigotry can often be as challenging as the physical environment, and in some cases actually more challenging. It can have a deleterious impact on how people feel about themselves and what's out there and how far up the greasy pole that they can go.
One of the reservations employers have about this group is the fear of costs of adjustments, but actually the average cost is about £700 and it can be much lower than that.
So that really is an average. It includes the majority of people. I have arthritis, Still's disease, juvenile chronic arthritis that I got at 15. I'm ambulant, I've had hips replaced and knees replaced and we're going round again, yada yada. But the reality is I just need an ergonomic mouse and somebody to help me put my coat on if I ever go back into an office. And that's where it ends. And some people will need much more expensive kit and gizmos or a lift or access to a ramp. But the average cost is around £700.
The third question is, how have remote and hybrid work impacted on this group?
I've been left on trains at midnight when the train's about to be taken off at a siding. I've been left on when I've got meetings to go to. I've been told I should travel when it's more quiet because people have important jobs to go to, or people have jobs, that there's an assumption disabled people don't work.
There's a lot of people who experience disability where now they're experiencing less pain. I've heard story after story, people waiting for joint replacements, wheelchair users who use self-propelling wheelchairs. They may be waiting for shoulder surgery 2 weeks after COVID, no pain.
They're not having to travel as far.
Yeah. Absolutely. There are some IT companies like Microsoft who smash it out of the park when it comes to some of the accessible features. We've seen lots of accessibility come in terms of remote working and Zoom and so on.
If you're thinking more about this issue or want to do so, I refer you on to Purple Space. They are organising the Purple Light Up on the 3rd of December. Think of it like the equivalent of Pride, and encouraging chief executives to talk to the leaders of their disability employee groups about the art of leadership. Do get involved. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those videos. Next week, we're going to be exploring 3 of the big questions people just keep on asking me about making hybrid work. We don't have all the answers yet. We don't have all the research, but we're hearing a lot on the ground, and I will be sharing that with you. This week's newsletter also included all of those references we promised on the metaverse, things you might want to read and look at. If you're not signed up, you already should be. See you next week.